And finally tonight, a Wall Street veteran shares her career-building strategies. So listen up. Rise News book editor Marva Allen is here to tell us about this book and some other great ones. She always brings great ones. Hey, Marva.
How are you?
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. We start out, you know, as always, health and wealth, right?
That's right. Always New Year, New You.
New you and new you. And Carla Harris brings it. She brings it with this book, Strategize to Win, which is a follow-up to her book, Expect to Win. And this woman is impressive all around, you know, a senior executive at Morgan Stanley, and a woman who also has CDs because she's a fabulous gospel singer.
Mm-hmm.
So
which is how I know her.
I know, you know, so you can do both things and you can win all the time. But this is a great book, especially for young kids starting out. And you know, in the African American community, there's a great lack of mentors. So this book can act as a mentor to a young person coming out of college, trying to choose the career. You know, go through the list of questions, start out right.
And I was going to ask you, is it interactive? Does it give the reader a
much
chance to get involved?
Absolutely, very much so. And it asks you all the questions to think about. If money wasn't an issue, what would you do? Mm-hmm. And so on and so forth. And so for the young person coming out, this is great. For the person who is in transition, it's also great because you need some refresher skills and all of these kinds of things. So it's a very, very practical and accessible guide to your career.
Very smart, sharp lady, so
yes.
I know this is going to be a great book. And she's a great preacher, too.
And she's a great preacher. She's a great
Okay, so that's Carla Harris's Strategize to Win. Let's move on to this next one, the 2020 diet.
The 20, what else could we
is that
learn
from Dr.
about
Phil?
Diet? You know, this is the follow-up to the ultimate diet plan that he had. And these are the 20 key foods to help you succeed. Because diets, no matter how much we keep telling people, they generally fail. And they generally fail for what he considers 7 reasons. You know, don't eat it, you want to eat it. You know, the psychological triggers and so on. You're hungry and you're tired of being hungry, and, you know, you're not eating and you're plateaued. Mm-hmm. And so the psychological complement of dieting is also very, very important. So these are 20 key foods that he believes will help you succeed. He gives you the recipes, day 1 through 5. You know, I would say it's a typical diet book in terms of what you eat every day, but the psychology of it is important. How do you reframe the conversation in your head, you know, that says, I'm hungry, but this too shall pass. You know,
that really is the key. That really is the key. You know, diets do work; they just don't last.
They just don't last. Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, I mean, it's good though. You know, it's always good to revisit your health at the beginning of every year, and if you've got those 10 or so pounds to shed, make a commitment to it. Why not 2020 diet with Dr. Phil? All
right, diet with Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's move on to the last one, and this is on a completely different note, a much more serious note. It's called Resilience, the story of 2 sisters in mental illness.
Yes, this is Jessie Close, who happens to be the sister of the actress Glenn Close. And this is a very brave, brave book. As you know, the Closes were some of the people who founded Greenwich, you know, and were on the Astor's list. Deep pedagogy they come from. And, you know, very interesting family. Father became the physician to Mbutu in the French Congo, and so on. So they lived in Switzerland, went to boarding school, and then in the onset, as usual, at around 18 or 19 years old, we begin to see mental illness manifest itself. And so Jessie exhibited that at 18, 19, went through 5 destructive marriages, you know, children, her son was then diagnosed with sort of schizophrenia. And this is this family just wrapped their arms around her and her family. And it goes back to the fact that her mother's brother was mentally ill, you know, and passed the genes on, and then the genes went to her son, and how for the last 12 years she has managed to quiet this voice in her head, you know, I mean, because committing suicide, and you know, that has happened so often. You know, we've just seen very young, successful people from Miss Jessie, the hair product, commit suicide from depression. How dark these minds can be. And so, you know, when you have families, so Jessie wrote the book, and Glenn Close writes a conversation, and she says, you know, all this time we thought she was just irresponsible, making bad choices. It never entered our heads that she had a mental illness, because no one talked about the uncle who rode naked through the park on a horse, you know, back in the day.
Yeah, and mental illness is often just cloaked in a cone of silence and shame.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, it's a big conversation this year.
Yeah, and it's even joked about in the African American community, you know, the crazy uncle.
The crazy uncle, exactly. And so, you know, but we're bringing it to the forefront as we see people like Robin Williams and so on, and all of these people. It's an equal opportunity disease, and we've got to treat it as a disease, because if we catch it early, we may be able to give these people some semblance of a normal life.
And you said, now, did Glenn Close write a preface to this, or a foreword?
And little bits and pieces throughout
the book.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
it's
wow.
a wonderful, and they have a foundation, you know, that they're talking about. So they're champions of this mental illness, and I'm so glad to see it happen.
Indeed.
It happens in every family.
Indeed. All right. Wonderful as always, Marva Allen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See you next week.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on Arise America.